Hello everyone. I hope you are all staying healthy and happy with your families. Today, I will tell you a very special story, a business strip full of surprises, intimate conversations, and important decisions that changed the future of James and Diep. A story that seems to revolve around a trip to Seawood. But behind it are many emotions, thoughts, and feelings that even they did not expect. James was a young CEO of a large timber manufacturing company in the city. Intelligent, decisive, and passionate about his work. James had built his success through years of relentless effort. Yet, with success came great pressure, from rivals and complicated relationships alike. Diep, James's longtime partner, was not only the love of his life but also his greatest source of support, despite his busy schedule. James always made time to care for Diep, planning to marry her soon. Everything seemed to be progressing smoothly. But life, as always, had its twists. John, an old friend and now a fierce competitor of James, had set his sights on overtaking James's timber market. Cunning and ruthless, John harbored deep schemes to undermine James and reclaim his lost power. The trusted manager of James's timber factory, had been loyal for years. But temptation and pressure from John began to shake his loyalty. Secretly, Tung started passing confidential company information to John, causing significant damage. One rainy morning, James and Diep went to inspect a shipment of fresh timber at the warehouse, where Tung was overseeing operations. Tung greeted them coldly. Far from his usual friendly self. "Tung, you seem different lately," Diep asked with concern. James noticed the change too. His eyes narrowed as he questioned, "Is everything all right, Tung?" Avoiding eye contact, Tung gave vague answers and excused himself quickly. James and Diep exchanged worried looks. Soon, James discovered several timber shipments were damaged with no clear explanation. Determined, he investigated further and found suspicious irregularities in warehouse management. That night, James secretly visited the factory and caught Tung handing over documents to a stranger. Immediately, James called John. On the phone, John's calm but chilling voice said, "James, you should know the market isn't for the weak. If you can't hold on, someone else will." James hung up in anger, his resolve burning brighter than ever to crush the conspiracy. The next day, James confronted Tung in the office. "You betrayed me, Tung. I never expected this from you," James said firmly. Tung composed himself. "James, I did what I had to do to protect myself. You don't understand the pressure I'm under." James stared into Tung's eyes. "Pressure is no excuse to betray your team. If you have any conscience left, stop before it's too late." Tung was silent, torn inside. But he chose to abandon the scheme with John and return to James, hoping to make amends. Throughout it all, Deep stood firmly by James's side, comforting and encouraging him. She knew their love was more than feelings, it was the strength to overcome adversity. One evening, as they sat by the window overlooking the city lights, Deep said softly, "I believe no matter what happens, we'll get through it." James took her hand, his eyes full of love. "You're my strength. I can't do this without you." They planned a wedding in the coming months, a celebration of joy after enduring so much hardship. But John was relentless. He launched dirty tactics to pressure James's partners. Deeply affecting the company, James had to use all his negotiation skills, personally visiting partners to explain. While working with Tu Diep to rebuild trust among employees and clients, one day, John challenged James to a direct bidding war for a huge project. A battle not only for market share but for honor. James gathered his team, meticulously preparing a strategy. Deep worked tirelessly with suppliers and boosted morale. On bidding day, John arrived confident, but James and his team showcased professionalism, agility, and determination. In the end, James's company won, solidifying its market dominance. After all the storms, James and Deep finally enjoyed true happiness. Their wedding was simple but warm, surrounded by family and close friends. Tu had fully changed, becoming a loyal and trustworthy partner. John, defeated, accepted his position and ceased his attacks. James and Deep knew life would continue to bring challenges, but together, they would face whatever came next. After months of battling challenges both in business and in their personal lives, James and Deep finally found a moment of calm. The threats from John had lessened. Tu had shown his true loyalty, and the company was slowly stabilizing under their joint leadership. James decided it was time to seal their bond with a wedding that would symbolize everything they had overcome together. He wanted the ceremony to reflect not just their love, but the strength and resilience they had forged through hardship. Deep, touched by his thoughtfulness, chose a simple yet elegant white dress that mirrored her pure heart and quiet strength. The wedding took place in a beautiful garden surrounded by towering trees, a symbol of growth and endurance, just like their relationship. Friends, family, and trusted colleagues gathered to witness their vows, while Tu stood nearby. Proud and sup. As the sun began to set, James and Deep faced each other, hands intertwined. Emotions thick in the air, James spoke with sincerity, declaring Deep as his true home and promising to protect and cherish her always. Deep, holding back tears, vowed to stand by his side through every joy and hardship. They exchanged rings, tokens of their unbreakable commitment, sealing their promises with a tender kiss that echoed the depth of their journey. Their honeymoon was brief but filled with quiet joy. Spent at a seaside resort where they could escape the weight of their responsibilities and simply be together. Returning home. They resumed their work with renewed energy, Diep taking on a more active role in the company's social initiatives to support women and families in need. While Jame leaned on her wisdom to guide business decisions, their partnership blossomed. Life, of course, continued to throw challenges their way. John's shadow still loomed, and new rivals. Thank you for following this story. See you in the next episodes.